I mean, you haven't been elected yet, and yet you already have an entire school of economics named after you, Corbynomics. You must be very flattered by that.
Well, I'm glad that people are taking notice of our campaign where we're challenging the agenda of austerity. Austerity which has led to greater inequality in our society, greater poverty in our society, and now a budget and a welfare reform bill which will deepen that, impoverish more children in large poor families. Surely we can do better than that. Surely the Labour Party can do better than that and offer a real economic alternative which is about expanding manufacturing industry, expanding our economy, and a welfare state that eliminates poverty and the gross inequality that exists in Britain today.
But some of the things that you're suggesting in your economic plan, that some have described as Corbynomics, effectively is forcing the Bank of England to print money. That's illegal, isn't it?
Well, at the moment, the Bank of England prints a great deal of money and hands it over to the banks, and it's called quantitative easing. What I'm suggesting, instead of handing it over to the banks to do what they will with it, instead we set up a national investment bank that will invest in the necessary infrastructure in this country, in manufacturing industry, in rail infrastructure, in housing, all those kind of issues. Surely that is something more socially responsible, will bring more young people into work, qualified but indebted young people into work. Surely we can do a lot better by a society based on the needs and caring of all, rather than this gross inequality which is deepening through austerity and deepening through the policies of this Tory government.
But does doing a lot better entail ditching credible economics? Because the plans that you've outlined, according to a number of economists who've looked at them, are just not credible. The numbers don't add up.
Well, I pray and aid Richard Murphy, who advises on the levels of tax avoidance that could be dealt with, at least £50 billion per year, not collected through a series of avoidance measures and tax havens. I pray and aid what Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize-winning economist, has said, that austerity is essentially a political tool that's been used against many of the very most poorest and most vulnerable people, and that we should and could be doing something better and something different. Labour lost the election because I don't believe we offered a credible alternative to what the Conservatives are offering. If we move nearer and nearer to the Conservatives, with instead of austerity light, instead austerity heavier, we will lose more support. We gain people back to our party when we promise we will deal with the housing crisis, we will deal with the needs of the NHS, deal with the needs of our welfare state, but above all, give young people a real chance, a real stake in our society, rather than a life on debt.
So when Chris Leslie, the current Chancellor, the shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, says that your numbers don't add up, that your policies aren't credible, that he would leave a Corbyn shadow cabinet if there was one, that's not exactly huge praise, is it? Does that insult you?
Well, lots of things that are said in the heat of the moment are best left in the heat of the moment and best forgotten. I will send every Labour MP a copy of the economic statement we put forward. Indeed, Chris Leslie has been sent one already, and we'll put it out there for everybody to make a judgment on it. But this is an election about one position in the party, as well as obviously similar elections for Deputy Leader, London Mayor and so on. But after September the 12th, whoever wins the election, there's got to be a serious debate about how we deal with the economic crisis in this country, how we deal with the poverty crisis in this country, how we address the environmental crisis of the rest of the world. We cannot go on being Tory-lite. We've got to be true to ourselves.
OK, so tell me and tell our viewers, who would be your choice for Shadow Chancellor?
I'm making no choices of anybody for anything, because the ballot papers haven't even been sent out yet for an election that hasn't yet been held. The result obviously cannot be declared. I cannot make any possible predictions about who will hold what position at this stage. All I know is that after September the 12th, I will be still adopting my same views, demanding a economic and social policy that is justice for all in this country, and I hope Labour MPs will understand the strength of feeling that this election campaign has mobilised amongst lots of young and older people.
Sorry to interrupt, but you're so close to power. I mean, isn't it possible that you have to come up with a list of names by now, at least in your head? What about Andy Burnham as Shadow Chancellor? Would you give him the job?
Look, I'm not offering any names up, and as many times as you want to ask me the question, go ahead, but unfortunately I still won't be able to give you any names.
Right,
I'm really sorry about that.
Let me ask you about someone else.
September the 13th, if we're successful.
Sorry, let me ask you about someone else. George Galloway has said that he would love to join a Labour Party led by you. Would you welcome him back?
Look, if people wish to rejoin the Labour Party, having left the Labour Party in the past, there is a procedure, there is an application, they can be considered by the National Executive. That's how it's going to be. It's not up to the leader to dictate policy.
But would you welcome him back?
I mean, dictate membership. So,
yes or no? Would you welcome him back?
That's a matter for the Labour Party to decide who is a member or not. Can we ask some more questions, please?
OK. Thank you very much, Jeremy Corbyn.